Hi Guy, welcome back CBS Beyond the Gates. Madison had always believed she was the kind of person who could keep life under control through pure logic, a clear target, a disciplined schedule, a career path mapped out like a perfectly drawn line. Copenhagen was never just a research trip to her. It was proof that years of ambition, restraint, and relentless self-command had finally earned their reward. In Madison's world, work was not simply a job, it was identity. It was stability. It was the one thing that didn't waver when Fairmont Crest gossip shifted and emotions threatened to spill beyond her grip. Then Chelsea came into her life like a breathtaking exception, beautiful enough to feel like destiny and dangerous enough to feel like risk. And now, as the possibility of losing Chelsea completely becomes real in a way Madison can no longer deny, she discovers something that terrifies her. What makes her panic isn't professional failure, but the image of waking up to a room where Chelsea is gone, no presence, no warmth, no eyes, that both unsettled her and made her believe she still had a heart worth saving. Chelsea is moving through what can only be described as a new turning point in her life, and that phrase slices through Madison every time she thinks about it. The details don't even have to be fully defined. Because what threatens Madison isn't one specific choice Chelsea makes, it's the feeling that Chelsea is slipping into a life rhythm they once imagined as shared. Madison hates admitting it, but she feels endangered by Chelsea's change, as if Chelsea is evolving into someone Madison can't predict, can't keep up with, can't anchor to. The fear isn't loud or theatrical. It doesn't explode into chaos. It lingers heavy, quiet, corrosive, turning Madison into a colder, tighter, harsher version of herself. She begins to wonder whether her love is becoming a side note in a story Chelsea is rewriting alone. That thought makes Madison angry at Chelsea, and then immediately disgusted with herself for being angry at all. She has always prided herself on independence, yet here she is realizing how much of her peace now depends on another person's presence. At night, Madison's mind keeps dragging her back to the memory of the life-changing decision she and Chelsea once agreed on together. It wasn't just a romantic moment or an impulsive promise. In Madison's mind, it became a contract. A private oath that no matter how intense the pressures of status, family, and reputation became, they would still be safe with each other. Madison clings to that memory like someone gripping a railing in the middle of dizziness. She remembers Chelsea's expression when they spoke about the future, the rare feeling that peace might actually be possible if they both held the line. But the gap between that promise and today's uncertainty makes Madison ache. Because now she doesn't know whether Chelsea still wants to live inside that decision or whether Chelsea has reached a crossroads where Madison can't follow, no matter how accomplished, organized, or determined she is. Copenhagen suddenly becomes a symbol of separation. Every time Madison looks at the paperwork, the preparations, the research plans, she doesn't feel excitement anymore, she feels a warning. If she boards that plane, she might return to a different Chelsea, or worse, return to the realization that she no longer has a place in Chelsea's life at all. Madison isn't someone who walks away from opportunity, and that is exactly why this choice feels brutal. Part of her screams that she has worked her entire life for this, that she cannot throw away the future for a fear she can't even quantify. But another part, her softest part, her most honest part, whispers that no achievement is worth the hollow emptiness of losing the person who made her feel alive. She finally understands, fully and without escape, that her love for Chelsea is bigger than any personal ambition, bigger than any research dream she ever carried. That truth both frees her and terrifies her, because it means Chelsea has become her priority, and priorities are where people get hurt. The decision to cancel everything happens so abruptly that even Madison struggles to recognize herself in it. It isn't a choice built from lists of pros and cons. It feels like survival instinct, as if something deep inside her knows that if she hesitates, Chelsea will slip away for good. The shock of the people around her becomes distant noise. All Madison hears is the pounding of her own heart, the relentless rhythm of urgency. Cutting off Copenhagen doesn't bring the relief she expected. Instead, it exposes a sharper fear. If she has dared to sacrifice something this monumental, she cannot endure the possibility that Chelsea still walks away. So when Madison goes to find Chelsea, every step carries not just love, but desperation and unbearable pressure to prove that this is real, that she is real, that she is willing to change before it's too late. When Madison finally stands face to face with Chelsea, her control begins to collapse. She confesses her fear of losing Chelsea in a way that feels both honest and painfully raw, as if each word is cutting through her pride. For Madison, admitting fear is admitting vulnerability, admitting she isn't untouchable, admitting she can be abandoned. But she says it anyway, because for the first time she understands that silence and self-protection have only widened the distance between them. Madison makes it clear that her love isn't convenient, isn't conditional, isn't something she will trade away the moment a prestigious opportunity calls her name. If there is one thing she knows with absolute certainty now, it is this: Chelsea matters more than any ticket, any title, any laboratory in a faraway city. The moment Madison drops to one knee feels like a fall, sudden, dizzying, with no safe exit. This is not a stage display, not a performance meant to trap Chelsea with a ring. It is the act of someone who has finally chosen honesty over pride, someone who has accepted that her life has shifted off its old axis. Madison's proposal is sincere and startling, because she is not offering a fantasy, she is offering herself, exposed. She is not proposing because she is sure Chelsea will say yes. She is proposing because she cannot stand the in-between anymore, the half-love, the guarded love, the love that always leaves one foot pointed toward escape. She wants a promise strong enough to hold them both when storms hit, and she wants Chelsea to see, unmistakably, that Madison is willing to change the direction of her entire life. What makes the proposal even heavier is the commitment that comes with it. Madison doesn't only promise to stay, she admits she needs professional help for her own issues. That confession strips away the last layer of armor. Because if anything has been quietly damaging their relationship, it is the darkness Madison tries to hide, the anxiety she turns into control, the insecurity she disguises as certainty, the fear she unconsciously pushes onto Chelsea by forcing Chelsea to prove devotion. Madison choosing to seek real support is her way of saying she does not want Chelsea to endure her in order to keep them together. She wants to learn how to love without suffocating, how to stand beside Chelsea without turning Chelsea into her lifeline. It is the most practical vow she can make, and also the most painful, because it means acknowledging that love alone is not enough unless Madison is willing to face herself. The proposal reveals a major shift in Madison's life direction. She used to see the future as a straight line to conquer. Now she sees it as a road she must walk with someone. With all the uncertainty and risk that comes from placing your heart in another person's hands. Madison prioritizing Chelsea doesn't mean she wants to become someone else. It means she finally understands that she has lived too long as if emotion was a weakness, when in truth emotion is what gives life meaning. The irony is that in accepting she cannot control everything, Madison becomes strong in a different way, strong because she chooses, because she dares to sacrifice, and because she takes responsibility for what that choice demands. And then Madison waits, breath tight, hope fragile for Chelsea's reaction. She realizes there is nothing more she can say that will guarantee the outcome. She has already done the biggest thing she can do: set her career aside, lower her pride, and offer Chelsea a promise that includes both love and real self-repair. But the answer belongs to Chelsea now, whether Chelsea believes this change is genuine or only a panic response. Whether Chelsea is willing to step into a new commitment while standing at her own turning point. Madison looks at Chelsea and understands something she never wanted to learn. Sometimes love is not measured by how much you sacrifice, but by whether you have the courage to accept the other person's answer. If I'm allowed to add a personal note, this kind of moment always leaves me torn between tenderness and dread. Tender, because it is rare to see ambition pause long enough to recognize what truly matters. Dread, because in real life, not every proposal can rescue a love that has already begun to slip away. Sometimes you kneel not to win, but to ask for the chance to start again, and the most beautiful, most frightening truth is that you cannot force anyone to give you that chance. Madison has chosen Chelsea over Copenhagen, but one question still hangs in the air like a heartbeat that won't settle. Will Chelsea see love inside this leap? Or will she only see Madison's fear trying to hold on to something that is already changing? And if Chelsea's silence lasts too long, will Madison have the strength to stand up, holding a ring she never got to place, and face the real cost of choosing love as her priority? Leslie enters Ashley's life not as an obvious enemy, but as an opportunity wrapped in something dazzling. A new free clinic, a project that looks charitable on the surface. A story that makes people want to believe it's about doing the right thing. And inside that polished goodness, Leslie chooses the most dangerous approach of all. No threats, no force, no raised voice, just an offer so attractive that Ashley can feel herself leaning toward it before she even realizes she's being pulled. Leslie invites Ashley to become the head nurse at the clinic, presenting it as a clean, professional leap forward. The salary is generous, offered with the kind of certainty that tells Ashley she is finally being seen, finally being valued, finally being treated like someone whose competence deserves a seat at the table. Leslie dangles advancement too carefully, smoothly, so Ashley doesn't feel like she's being bought. She feels chosen, she feels important, and in that first moment, Ashley isn't greedy. She is simply tired of excelling in silence, tired of sacrificing without recognition, tired of watching other people's lives become the big stories while hers stays stuck in the background. Ashley considers the offer with a genuine spark of hope. Her mind fills with the practical relief of stability and the emotional relief of authority. She imagines building protocols, leading a staff, creating an environment that feels cleaner, calmer, more controlled than anything she has been forced to endure. She imagines stepping out of Fairmont Crest's constant whispers and coded glances and into a space where her skills speak louder than anyone's assumptions. For a brief moment, the clinic looks like a doorway to a different life. And Leslie, patient like a hunter, doesn't strike immediately. She lets Ashley sit in the illusion that this is simply career growth. She lets Ashley experience the sweetness of being wanted. That is exactly why the hidden condition, when it finally arrives, doesn't land like a punch. It slips in like smoke through a cracked door, soft enough to inhale before you realize it's poisoning you. Leslie begins to bring up Shanice as if it's just a side note, something connected to workplace realities, something Ashley should be aware of for the clinic's smooth operation. Leslie doesn't openly say she wants Ashley to betray her friend. She frames it as concern, as shared responsibility, as a problem that needs to be managed for everyone's benefit. She suggests Ashley quietly gather information about Shanice, emphasizing that Ashley and Shanice are close, that Ashley will naturally be in the best position to understand what's going on. Leslie makes it sound like a professional task rather than a moral collapse. And that is what makes it truly frightening, the way Leslie can dress manipulation in the language of logic. Ashley feels discomfort bloom almost immediately because she realizes she's being pushed into a gray zone where right and wrong blur, where a person can convince herself she is simply observing, simply helping, simply protecting the clinic from instability. But Ashley is not naive. She can sense the weight behind Leslie's words. Leslie isn't interested in stability, she is interested in leverage. There is a chill in Leslie's gaze that Ashley cannot ignore. Ashley understands that this offer is not only about her qualifications, it is about her access to Shanice. The hidden condition becomes sharper when Leslie starts emphasizing how important it is that Shanice and Ted break up. This is when the true shape of the plan becomes impossible to deny. Leslie doesn't just want to know what Shanice thinks. Leslie wants to fracture what Shanice is building. She wants to cut the thread that keeps Shanice and Ted connected. And she tries to sell it as mutual benefit, as if ending that relationship will be healthier for everyone involved, better for Shanice, better for Ted, better for the clinic, better for the future. Leslie speaks as if she stands on the side of truth, but Ashley hears the real scent underneath: possession and revenge. What unsettles Ashley most isn't only the cruelty of the intention, but the way Leslie wraps cruelty in moral packaging so convincing that a weaker person might mistake it for reason. Ashley is suddenly trapped between two forces, her career and her loyalty, and it isn't a clean dilemma. If she refuses, she isn't just turning down a job, she may be turning down the kind of opportunity that never returns. She would be turning down financial breathing room, turning down a title that gives her real authority, turning down a leadership position she has earned through years of endurance and competence. But if she accepts, she steps into a game where the rules belong to Leslie. She would have to stand beside Shanice every day, smile at her, work with her, while a part of her mind quietly records details, measures reactions, collects pieces of trust like evidence. Ashley would become the most subtle kind of spy. No stolen phones, no threats, only the exploitation of friendship. After her meeting with Leslie, Ashley sees Shanice and tries to act normal, but tension clings to her no matter how careful she is. She gently tests the waters, asking about Shanice and Ted in a way that can be explained as friendly concern. But that gentleness makes Ashley feel dirty, because she knows the questions are not innocent anymore. Each inquiry becomes potential data. Each sigh or hesitation from Shanice becomes something Leslie would want. Ashley feels the pressure tighten in her chest. She recognizes, with sick clarity, that Leslie is using her as a weapon to sabotage Shanice's relationship. Ashley does not want to be a traitor. She wants an honest chance to rise. Yet the offer in front of her is shaped like salvation and built like a trap. It tempts her with professional respect, then demands she sacrifice the one thing that can't be replaced once it's lost: trust. The pressure grows in a painfully ordinary way. Ashley starts seeing everything in double meanings. The clinic stops feeling like a place of healing and begins to look like a stage where Leslie can weaponize kindness as camouflage. The head nurse position stops being recognition and becomes a soft leash, one that will be difficult to remove without damaging her reputation. Ashley wonders if she can accept the job but refuse the hidden condition. But she knows Leslie does not give gifts without strings. Once Ashley takes the salary, the title, the authority, Leslie will have a way of reminding her quietly that they understood each other from the beginning. And if Ashley resists, Leslie can flip the narrative, painting Ashley as ungrateful, untrustworthy, unsuitable for leadership. Ashley begins to see that the trap is not only in the demand for information about Shanice, it's in the debt Leslie intends to create, the sense of obligation that can be turned into control. In the middle of this storm, Ashley seeks advice from someone she truly trusts, someone who won't reduce her dilemma to easy judgment. Ashley doesn't need anyone to choose for her. She needs an anchor, a voice strong enough to keep Leslie's seductive logic from taking root in her head. She describes the offer, the salary, the potential advancement, and then she reaches the hardest part, the hidden condition. Saying it out loud makes it worse, because it strips away the last excuse. Ashley hears herself explain quietly, gathering information about Shanice, and for a moment she barely recognizes the person in the story. And what hurts is that she can't deny the temptation still exists. Not because she wants to harm Shanice, but because she is afraid of staying trapped where she is always competent, always useful, never truly supported, never fully seen. Ashley's inner conflict isn't about whether she understands right from wrong. She does. She knows the hidden condition is wrong. The conflict is that life is not built only on right and wrong. It is built on consequences and opportunities. Ashley understands that loyalty doesn't always pay the bills, doesn't always open doors, doesn't always protect a future. But she also understands that if she betrays Shanice, she will lose something even harder to regain than money: her own self-respect. And once friendship is turned into a tool, it doesn't only wound Shanice. It reshapes Ashley into the kind of person she has always been afraid to become, someone who trades intimacy for advantage. As Ashley sits alone with the weight of the decision, she realizes what frightens her most isn't choosing, it's the time closing in around her. Leslie won't wait forever. Leslie will demand an answer soon, and every passing hour feels like a tightening wire. Ashley thinks about Shanice and Ted, about how clearly Leslie's motive is not mutual benefit but the need to win. And suddenly Ashley understands this for what it is, not a job offer, but a test of character. Leslie is betting that Ashley will choose advancement over friendship, that Ashley will soothe her conscience with small lies. I'm only listening. I'm not doing anything harmful. I deserve this chance. Leslie has positioned Ashley in the most dangerous place possible, where the reward is big enough to awaken hunger, and the betrayal is subtle enough to be disguised as harmless. When the moment finally comes for Ashley to decide, the tension is not in any dramatic outburst, but in the silence between her breaths. Ashley knows that whatever she chooses, something inside her life will shift permanently. If she accepts the hidden condition, she will step into the clinic carrying a crack in her chest that will widen every time Shanice trusts her. If she refuses, she will face the very real grief of letting go of a rare opportunity and the fear that she has just turned away the one offer that could have changed her life. Either way, Ashley will not remain innocent. She has seen how someone like Leslie can turn good into a trap, turn opportunity into a leash, turn mutual benefit into a mask for sabotage. And if I'm allowed to add a personal note as the writer, this storyline hurts in a way that feels painfully real. Because sometimes darkness doesn't arrive with violence or obvious threats. Sometimes it arrives with a flattering offer, a beautiful salary, a promise of advancement that makes you feel finally that you matter. And that is when you learn loyalty isn't something you announce when life is easy. It's something you protect when temptation is strong enough to make you forget who you are. Ashley is standing in front of a door that leads to career growth on one side and an unforgivable betrayal on the other. And what makes me want to keep watching isn't only what Ashley will choose, but the more terrifying question hovering above it: if Ashley refuses, will Leslie let her go, or will Leslie turn Ashley into her next target? And if Ashley accepts, will she survive this secret before it destroys both the friendship and the person Ashley used to be proud of? The Beyond the Gates CBS Spoilers channel specializes in analyzing, theorizing, and discussing plot points in the series from the perspective of a longtime fan. This allows viewers to gain deeper, more objective, and interesting insights. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest news about the series.